We're here with Credo from the left, Harmony on the middle, and then Mark on the right. And so we're talking about being 30 and unmarried and whether there's societal pressures to that. And when someone asks you, why are you not married? What's the first thing that comes to mind, Mark?
I guess the chuckle is the first thing that comes to mind.
My whole, bro, I'm not even like looking like married for marriage like that, to be completely honest. The attributes I'm looking for is more towards a baby mama. Because, you know, 4 out of 10 marriages don't reach 10 years. Out of 80% of divorces is initiated by the woman. Bro, a baby mama lasts longer than marriage, if we're being completely honest, bro. So that's where my mind is at.
So basically you're just for procreation, but you're not for commitment.
That's why God put us on when he said,
be fruitful and multiply.
Merci.
Harmony, when someone asks you, why are you 30 and not married? What comes to mind?
Firstly, damn, Mark, I didn't know that was your situation. I'm like, damn, you just want to procreate.
I know, every time I read this, I'm always like...
I'm like, what is this you?
I think if I were to answer honestly, when people ask me that, I think definitely the chuckle does come out first because it's like, this again, type of thing. But I think it's more like the more important things to life. And I know that for me, I really believe in timing. When the time is right, then I'll get married. You know what I'm saying? So it's not really something that you should force and then get into a messed up marriage just because he said this or she said this, just because society someone decided that you have to be married by a particular age. I don't think it's about being married by a particular age. I think it's about being married to the one that you are meant to be married to.
Credo, when someone says, why are you 30, over 30, and not married? What comes to mind?
As Harmony said, the chuckle first, and then after it's like, I don't think the right one has probably come about, because, and in the right one, I mean the one that will be willing to go through, not even go through, it's like they'll be willing to do the journey with you and the journey that leads there. Because I don't believe in soulmates and stuff like that. I believe in that love is a choice and stuff. So since it's a choice, we're consistently choosing to do this journey together based on fundamental values that we have together. And sometimes people have okay, this is as far as I can go. And sometimes if it's for someone as far as they can go, you won't go to that level. So I think it's just finding that type of person. And I don't think I have found that type of person.
So when you look at the people around you and you look at your friends that are married, or you even look at society, when Mark gave the statistics of 4 out of 10 marriages end in divorce, and Harmony spoke about the fact that he doesn't want to force anything, do you think that we are a society that has forced marriage due to a specific age, or due to it being the time to get married?
I definitely think, society has definitely put those pressures. And I would probably single out our black narrative and our black perspective, because that's what we are. And there's been a lot of pressure of people getting married because of how the community has pressured you. You should be, from a woman's perspective, from a man's perspective. I had a conversation with someone that I hold very dear to my heart, just saying that you don't wanna be at the age where you're a good-looking man. I'm not blowing my own horn, but you're a good-looking man, and women are looking at you like, oh, this nigga's fly, he's got everything and stuff like that. But why ain't he married? He's like 36, you know,
something wrong. Like what's going on?
I think those are indirect pressures, but I think it's up to you to just discern and then choose what's right for you.
Harmony, so do you think there has been societal pressure on the fact that you're married rather than who you get married to, and so it has led to especially Congolese society, where people are more forced to get married than deciding to get married to the right person at the right time?
Yeah, most def. I think when, and I won't blame them, because sometimes getting married at a young age prevents you from different situations. And also it's like, unfortunately, it's like a checklist. It's part of the checklist. You know, once you get married, you can move on to other things. You can move on to worrying about other things. Personally, when I was growing up, I wanted to get married young. I didn't think I want to get married before 30. I just thought I wanted to get married young because once you've got marriage out of the way, it's like you've got someone that you've got like a forever life with. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to worry about girls, whatever. When you're not married, you're always questioning, is this one here for the cash moolah? Is this one here for the reputation? There's this one here for just to, you know what I'm saying? Is she a real one? Is Mark gonna hit me up saying, bro, you sure that's your, bro, I saw, you know what I'm saying? You ain't trying to hear all of that, you know what I'm saying? So wanting to get married young for me was one of those, I wanted someone that I wanted like a best friend that I could spend the rest of my life with, and then her and I could just add on to the empire that I would have already built or she would have already built, and just join together to do some incredible stuff. And then also, you know, the kids and the family and just moving forward with life. But I think a lot of people, instead of thinking about the person that you're meant to be with or the person that you want to be with, adding to their lives and making their lives better, you adding to her life and her adding to your life, everyone's thinking about the other person, meaning everyone is kind of like catered for. Instead of people thinking of that, they're just thinking of marriage. Oh, I want to get married, and that's the, you know, end all. They don't think of the actual relationship and the future after that. So for me, it's like people put pressure on young individuals to get married, and then it's like when they get married, they just leave them there, and whatever problems they have, you know. Whereas a lot of the problems that they have in the relationship wouldn't have been so hectic if they had considered certain aspects before they got married. So in terms of you as an individual, are you even ready to get married? You like the idea of marriage, but are you even ready? You know, parents never ask their kids or never sit down with the kids and assess if their kids are ready to get married. They're always just about, is this, you know, just go get married. Even though they know, this one, if the kid gets divorced, they're like, you always knew that you were, you know what I'm saying? But they just force the kid to get married. Yeah.
So Mark, on your perception of procreation and having a baby mama, do you think there is a benefit to having grown up in a household like yourself with your father and mother together versus you having not had that household where you see mom and dad interacting? And with your perception of having a baby mama, how do you think you can raise a household where they understand the roles of a man and a woman with you having a baby mama and not someone that you're committed to?
No, I mean, it was vague, but basically, you grow up and then they tell you need to look for a wife, right? And I've learned, and from what I've seen, is that some of those attributes are inconsistent because people change, things happen, and I changed as well. Attributes that were important to me at 25 may mean nothing to me now. And so because of that, my whole mentality is looking at a different attribute, is that somebody that I know that can look after or help me raise children, right? And so the plan is to marry that person.
Okay.
Right? But if it doesn't work, I know that we're still gonna be able to raise these kids together.
Before you continue, when you say if it doesn't work, is that with the mindset that it probably won't work? Or is that with the mindset that whatever happens, because you have given me a child, I will do whatever I need to do? Because you yourself know that at 25 you wanted different things and now you want different things. So we are growing and changing beings. So marriage doesn't mean that there's certainty that I will be the same in 20 years. But it means that you will love me irrespective of the change. So when you say, if it doesn't work, does that mean you have a condition to, this is what I'm not willing to put up with, and I'm willing to just have you as a baby mama and not a wife?
No, there is no condition per se. So what I'm saying is basically, I believe a good mother or a good father is present in their children's lives. So for example, a lot of women that I've seen in my surroundings is that they will be impregnated by a guy that they once loved, right? And these are the attributes that they were first attracted to. Have no eye, and then you get shocked when the guy is an absent father. You know what I'm saying? And with a lot of these women, I know them, and a lot of the times, I'm sure even these guys can testify, you can see when a dude ain't shit. You don't need, there's no, like, you don't need a manual for it, like, you can see. And they will just take the chance on the basis of love.
It's a trap, though.
And so when I say that the attributes I'm looking for is a baby mama first, you know, a good mother, somebody that I can trust to raise a family with, over love, over the happily ever after. That's where my thinking is.
And do you think with time you can marry that baby mama?
Yeah, no, like obviously.
So marriage is not so much out of the cards. It's more
No,
just
it's not. It's just
direction.
Can you marry? First, let me give you a baby. Can you raise that?
That's tricky.
No, it's not the first. It's like it's the things that I'm looking at first, right? I'm like, you can. Some will be. Let me see if she cooks for me. Let me see if she massages my feet.
So is it
Let me see.
her ability to take care of your child first before marriage? Like, in terms of, like, basically what I'm hearing is that if we had to list, I don't want to put names to it, but let's say you had a list of the type of women that you want.
Yeah.
First on that list is someone who can take care of my kids, a baby mama, basically.
Yeah. That's the most important
So-
for me. Somebody that we can,
So
somebody that even we can co-parent. If we may not like each other at a certain time, because you're not always gonna like the people that you're with.
Yeah.
But we can still do the best thing for this child. If this child needs a father, because a lot of times women will do things out of spite, bro.
So with the Congolese society that we live in, Mark,
Yeah.
do you think women are open and parents are open to having children before marriage, or do you think there is still a negative connotation to having a child out of wedlock?
There still is a negative connotation because for the most part, before everything, we're Christians first. And that is the guide of our moral compass. And when we sway out of that compass and we lose direction, obviously things will be said. There's judgment. We're humans. We will judge each other, even though that same moral compass says don't judge. It happens. But I think with the Congolese society of what I see, there's a scary, like, people, the way they romanticize the concept of marriage is kind of scary for me. No one ever has real conversations, you know, about marriage. Even a lot of the times, people who are married around us, nobody says, how do you deal with a situation where she wants you to sleep on the couch? And if she wants me to sleep on the couch, am I the kind of person that can like humble myself and know that she's kicking me out of my bedroom in my house and making me sleep? Because these are the type of conflicts that just add on things and grows, and it becomes bigger than it's supposed to be. And these conversations aren't had.
I think listening to you speak, I know there's definitely going to be a lot of people, when you mention you want a baby first before marriage.
No, I didn't say I want a baby first. I'm saying the attributes that I'm looking at in a woman.
Yeah,
is somebody that is motherly.
Yeah.
Beyond somebody that can be, that's beyond somebody that can look after me.
Yeah.
Like whether I can look after myself. I don't need you to look after me. I'm looking at motherly attributes first.
Yeah.
Mark's point is the first time I've ever heard it. It's not wrong. It makes so much sense. But in you wanting to see if the woman is going to be motherly to your children, she must first be motherly to you, because outside that, there's no other thing that you can assure that.
Yeah, that's what
and also marrying the person who's motherly to you. Even in general, just marrying someone doesn't exclude that she will be motherly, because you make it sound as if there's marriage and then there's children. But then people want to get married, but they don't think of parenting.
But that's what.
Yeah,
that's what
and
I'm
That's
saying.
how you make it sound, but there's nothing wrong with your logic. I like it.
No.
But it discounts the fact that you can get married.
You can have both.
But still be
yeah,
married.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I'm not discrediting that. I'm not discrediting that. I'm just saying my way of thinking. Like
Your priority,
exactly.
number one
Like
on your list.
if we both training for a race, you know, agility is as important as power. And some may focus on doing weights first. I'm just like, yo, let me get the agility first. And so that's just the way, there's no like right way to go about it.
Credo, with
yeah.
what Mark is saying, what do you think could be the problem with how women perceive that?
I was actually gonna jump into that, and you read my mind, because as Mark is speaking, and I'm thinking a lot of women are gonna think that, so you literally looking for your mother, you trying to get married with your mama, you want me to be your mama, but I ain't trying to do that. And then there's also the aspect of, you know what I'm saying? There's also the aspect of what Amel mentioned is like almost like, how can I be, the first thing that you'll be able to see is how, if she's motherly to you first, and then you will be able to gauge that. Now that brings some form of a conflict, because if that's your expectation of what needs to come in, then her expectation is rightly false. So to say, I'm expecting you to be fatherly like my father, if she has a father. Or if she doesn't have a father, she has an expectation of what a good father is, which is not fully calibrated, is based on whatever she absorbed, which could be completely extra. It's like, I want you to provide for me for this, to provide for me, and then almost asking for a deputy Jesus or Jesus Christ himself, which you can't. And I think sometimes, a lot of the times when we do such things, it's a bit of a risk, because I know what we say is like, it's like not everybody, there's not cookie cutter to this situation, to these things, but however, I believe in calibration of expectations. So if I calibrate it in the sense that fundamental values, because as a mother is, the daughter will be also. So fundamental values of how your mother is, an evaluation, understanding that you're your own person. But from those fundamental values, once I see a correlation, it's that way I will engage further.
For me, it's core principles, because those core principles, people do change. The person that you were at 15 is definitely different from the person you were at 21, totally different from the person at 25, totally different 3 years later at 27, and another 3 years 30. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, it's like your core principles will remain the same. As much as you change your favorite colors or whatever, but your core principles remain the same. Yeah, but it's like, as long as, you know, there's no like hectic, big life change, most of your core principles remain the same. If you're a kind person, you're kind. The way you treat,
marriage,
you know what I'm
marriage
saying?
not a big life change.
Marriage
is a child not a big life change.
No, those are big life changes, but I mean, they don't change you from being a kind person to like an evil person, like at one go.
No,
your core principles of who you are and what you believe, the principles tend to remain the same unless something really triggers it. And then, but as long as,
did you know watch acrimony, bro?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Like these things change, bro.
Do you guys believe that men are prepared, or there are enough conversation had with men about what marriage entails and what it involves? When we all understand, men make the commitment to marry. A woman is not groomed to make a commitment of marriage. So if a man doesn't want to commit, chances are he won't commit to marriage.
True.
But with that being said, and when we look at the vast number of guys that are very skeptical, number one, about marriage, and also afraid of marriage, do you think there are enough conversations had between married men and single men about what marriage entails and how a man should be in marriage?
sure. I think on my side, it's a bit tricky. Mark mentioned earlier on that there aren't a lot of conversations had between those two parties, like the single men and the. Actually, no, there are conversations, but they aren't like real deep, in-depth conversation. Like you mentioned, you know, if you get kicked off, you know, your wife tells you go sleep on the couch, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Because in front of your boys, you want to be the man. You want to tell them that no, she kicked me out of my thing, and I was like, no, girl, you get out of. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you're just ego and whatever. Most people in society want to be more, you know, want to be the man within the relationship, whatever the man in the relationship means. But I think that the honest, real conversations with honest, real people aren't really had often. And I think that's where the disconnect is from the generation above us and our generation, because it leaves every generation to kind of figure things out for themselves once they get
Conversation is not had because not many men are willing to be vulnerable. That's the next level.
Yeah, that's
thing.
a realness.
Honestly, like if I speak for myself right now, the stage that I'm in right now, I don't think I really want to go to a guy who's married and ask him questions, because within myself I'm thinking to like a whole next level commitment and then give your time to, and then let's say you go to where you think you want to go and then it's nonsense. But then you almost have to tell to yourself, it's like, fam, just get the kayonas and just
go for it.
commit and just blind into it. But then you have a conflict within yourself. You're like, I could actually be very scared of this thing. And then now I must go to a man who's married and say, Chief, I'm scared, gagless. How did you do it? And then he has to be willing to be vulnerable and tell you, bro, sometimes you just don't know, so you just have to take a leap of faith.
Like one person's journey, they might tell you something, and then their girl is patient, but your girl isn't. You know what I'm saying? Or their person, is forgiving and yours isn't. They give you advice, your girl leaves you, and gets that deal. And then what you'll come to him and say, but it's just a quick, you know what I'm saying? And also a lot of, I think one of the things that I have conversations with my dad about is like, people will pressure you to get married, but when you're in that relationship, you're there by yourself. And if something happens, they'll tell you, Michelle, c'est toi. You're the one who got married. You're the one who got married. And you can't go to them and say, no, Papa, c'est toi qui m'a married. No. It's like, but it's a risk you have to be willing to take.
I also think that conversation is difficult to have because roles have changed, right?
Yeah, society
roles are undefined. So where do we begin? I think for my pops to get advice from his uncles and his pops is completely different to what my pops is going to tell me, because that generation was getting married mostly for survival reasons. Because women weren't working. For women to survive, she needed to get... A lot of
women didn't have a say, though.
And for a woman to survive, she needed to get married to a man. Now today, women are independent. So, where does the conversation start? People are getting married for different reasons now. People are getting married to live soft lives.
Marriage also means different things to different people.
People are dating to live soft lives. It's crazy.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, this is real. This is real. Like, back then, and it's happening more and more. It's more and more common in our circles. It's not shunned upon. Like, if a young girl is married to an older guy, it's for a soft life. So who are we getting advice from? The reason why Credo is gonna get married might be different to mine. So there's no manual for this stuff, man.
But I feel like with men, it's actions speak louder than words. So are your actions showing that you are ready to get married? Because in the Congolese society, it's typical, right? Finish school, go to university. Graduate record time, get a job. Buy a house, buy an apartment. Your actions speak that you are ready. But no one's ever asked you, are you truly ready? And then the inverse obviously applies. So if you haven't graduated, haven't spun, then they can argue that your actions are not saying you're ready for marriage. Do you think that's true?
I think it has a great part to play in it. It's like because your parents know you, but they can see that I know my son. This one is but at the same time, do those things determine how ready you are to be married? Because being married is not about having cars. You can work and get a car now and have a great job. You're a CEO, and then technology change. You know what I'm saying? You change.
And I'm
And
glad
then
you
now
said-
you go back to do they, do we reverse things now? You're married, you're there, the ring is there. She's looking at you now in your eyeballs, saying, Chief, when's a galan? What's happening? Marriage is bigger than just material things. I think a lot of people see material things, a lot of people see what is deemed to be certain stages and levels in your life. And yes, there are stages in your life, getting your degree or qualification or whatever it is, whatever educational equivalent, and then getting a job or a form of income, and then let's say getting a house. And then people, like you said, people deem that the steps to getting ready to get married. But marriage is about more than just positions and stages that we can see with our physical eyes. It's also about mental and emotional stages. Some people are emotionally broken. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna take all that mess that from all these girls that broke your heart and all these people or seeing your uncle cheating or whatever, all that mess that you've attached, or even these movies that we watch nowadays where people are unshy, people are doing whatever left, right, and center, this nonsense that your friends were doing that you thought was cool. You take all that rubbish that you've put inside your mind and put inside your heart, and then you take that and you're gonna go make someone's daughter or someone's son suffer. Or you see that, Armel has a great apartment and whatever, now you come to your man and you make this man stress about it. Men don't care about apartments. You know what I'm saying? His purpose and his life goal is about somewhere different. A lot of people don't address that when it comes to relationships. A lot of people don't address spiritual situation when it comes into relationship. You're forcing this kid who's got a car. Yes, if you're blessed, you can work hard. You get a job, you work hard, you save enough, you get money. That's straightforward. Get something that gives you income. You go put a deposit. Now you don't even need deposits. You get balloon payments. If you can pay 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 a month, it's straightforward. But relationship is not straightforward. How to deal with healing, even to recognize the fact that you are hurt. Some people don't even know that they're hurt. They're out here hurting their partners because someone in high school broke their heart, or their dad didn't do this, or their mom didn't do this. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's bigger things. It's bigger things than just the physical things and just the things that we can see in terms of a job, in terms of that kind of process. And I think a lot of people need to think about that, and we need to have more spaces where people are able to be open and honest and have those conversations with those who are getting ready to get married.
So, two questions. They say that marriages are usually divorce happens for one of two things. The number one thing is finance. With you having said that, yes, someone can be financially ready, have a house, have a car, but it doesn't mean they're ready for the relationship. And how much money goes into furnishing a place, taking yourself, the wedding. But some people have contributions. There's contributory aspects to wedding, but post the wedding, there's your life, your lifestyle, how you want to maintain the lifestyle you have with your wife, where you stay. All those financial aspects that are brought into marriage. What do you think the man's role is in terms of providing financial stability in marriage?
Sure, that's a deep one, and we already know the right answer, and we know the answer that everybody has to say. I think traditionally we are under the impression that man is the provider. You know what I'm saying? For me personally, I believe that God is the provider. You know what I'm saying? God is the one who makes the plan. Because God can decide you sitting at home, and the wife is the one who's going to be banking. You know what I'm saying? But I think for me personally, I won't sit here and lie to you and say if my girl makes more than me, whatever. I'm very, I want to say competitive, but I really push hard. If my girl is making $1 million, me, I'm going to work hard to make 3 million type of thing, you know what I'm saying? But it's not a competition here or there. I feel like when you're in a relationship, it's a team. Like no, well, that's the thing that firstly I'm gonna have to
diplomatic way to say
that's the thing that I'm gonna have to work on, and I'm constantly always working on. But for me, a marriage is a team sport. Marriage is a team sport. Me and my partner, we work hard. If I'm a good shooter, girl, give me the ball, I'm gonna shoot. If she's a good shooter, I'm gonna give you the ball, I'm gonna give you that through ball, and you.
Mark, who's the financial person? Who's in charge of finances in a marital home?
Whoever makes the most money. Plain and simple. Bro,
you'll be stressing for nothing, right?
You know what I'm saying? Like, don't stress me. You make more bank. You know that. I'm chilled. I'm chilled. Like for me, I've learned I've learned a long time ago, well, not a long time ago, but I've learned that everybody has a role. And I know society is going to say that finances is the most important role, but it's like when you look at pollination, the bee is as important as the flower. The bee cannot live without the flower cannot live without the bee. We both need each other. So when it comes to pride and finances, it doesn't exist with me, honestly. Hey, if you make bank, you make bank, baby. Shit. I will massage your feet every day. I will cook, you know what I'm saying? And that in itself is a means of providing.
Credo, who is in charge of financial decisions in the household?
The man.
Okay. Why the man?
Because the man must provide. That's what we do. And we provide in all aspects. In spiritual, mental, financial, in all aspects. And you as the woman who is there for you is there to help you in that process of running the provision that you're supposed to provide. If you don't understand finances, you don't educate yourself. Because first you have to be self-sufficient before you become other people sufficient. So how can you be self-sufficient if you do not understand your own financial status and your own credit rating and all of that stuff that speak to it? Because the woman who comes in, she just comes in to add to whatever you're already constructing and what you're building. So that's why I think the man is always, because that's how I live my life. That's the thing, and that's why I believe that the provision and you understanding, you as a woman, and Polo, I hear what you're saying. However, from the example that I've seen, you as a woman, you can bank, and she banks like 3 times, 4 times more than him. But he's like, no. When you came, I told you where my journey is, where we're planning to go. Yeah, sure. Your 4 times, it must stay there. You must keep it. It must be for the spanky things that, but the house, the cars, the everything, your medical aid, that's me that pays. And he makes sure that that's what he provides. And he educated himself from a financial basis. And from that, and his wife is very humble, comes from very humble beginnings. But even though he has brought in that discipline, you can see that there's a higher level of respect. We mustn't forget that human beings are human beings. When Shankura starts to come and you start to say to her, nah dog, because you make the most money, just handle it. But people have rebellious tendencies. As like, so I'm making the most money.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make the decisions there.
That rebellion goes both ways.
Explain that.
Elaborate.
You did say people are rebellious, and when money comes in, how many rebellious men are there in this 100-meter radius? How many rebellious men are there in this 100-meter radius? We don't even have to go far. I can probably go next door and knock. Boom, boom, boom. My nigga, you rebellious. He's like, hey, bro.
It is what it is.
Hold on.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, this is a question that I have. Rebellious towards, once he gets money, rebellious towards his role as a man, or rebellious towards just being rebellious? Because me saying
no, not his role as a man, a role as a husband. His role as a husband, it's still a form of rebellion. It doesn't matter, and it's still affecting a greater household. Sure, you're a man on your own, but when you're married, you're a husband. And there's a greater responsibility to that. And for me, you being a man does not justify a rebellion when you're married. That's just how I see it.
Gotten some of this wisdom from some of my mentors, some of the greatest niggas, and they earn so much money, but they have wives that earn more money than them. And they always say to me, Amel, we live in a time and place where you cannot control the money your wife gets. It's out of your control, and you'll run wild trying to control that. So your wife may be a hard worker, fortunate, things go in her favor, and she makes more money than you. But your role as a man is to take care of that. They call it capital expenditure. So the capex is yours. And then when I was like, but what does capex mean? House, school fees, cars. Those 3 things as a man: house, school fees, cars. And there's a few other things in there, but those 3 things as a man, that is your function.
He spoke on the financial role in a marriage. Credo said the financial role is a man's. Harmony said it depends on who does it best. Mark said it depends on who earns more. So I want to bring it back to the general.
No,
Hold on. I want to ask the question. Now let's make it. Do you agree with Omar's statement? A man should be responsible for house, school fees, and cars of the household in a marital.
That is loaded, man. That question is loaded.
It's simple.
What-
Do you
what
believe
happened?
you should be able?
What
You
happened?
in
Okay,
charge
let
of
me
it.
pose the question. Let me pose the question, Dave. I say it's loaded because let me put it this way. Are you gonna let your child go to a new school because you can only afford 500 rand, whereas your wife can afford
So you don't
to put us
believe-
into a,
so you don't
into-
believe them?
No, I believe.
So you don't believe-
I believe that the man is the head of the family. He directs the vision. If you want your kids to go to a good school and I make less than you and I can't afford for my kids to go into that school and for us to live in a particular neighborhood, then you are contributing into that space.
Okay, so you
but
don't
the
believe-
vision, but
so
the
you don't
vision is the vision.
So you don't
it's
believe?
Dude, it's
Me, I
too
don't
much of a
believe.
loaded. No, you don't believe. That's you. That's on you. I think,
So what are you
I think,
saying?
okay, I am saying that it's a deeper. It's more than just a yes or no question. I think more than just a yes or no. There are some things in life that aren't. Like I said, the man is the head of the family. You direct where we want us to go. Let's just put
So the wife,
hypothetically.
so you directed nice,
Yeah.
give direction sharp, but the wife is paying for house, car.
If she can afford to pay for that
Jesus.
stuff, I really feel that I'm not saying
will
listen.
fight any demon construct.
Fight all the
child
demons you want. Fight
so
all the
that I
demons.
can pay for the house, the car, the fees.
Let me put this into context. Okay, let's put it into context. Let's put numbers. Let's put numbers.
No.
Let's put numbers. God
I will do all
God forbid you are making 10K a year. God forbid. No, I'm saying listen.
Your same drive and hunger and ambition must cover for the million.
But
That's my job.
Wait, okay,
The thing is, what I've seen and how Mel also agree and what I've agreed is, as a man, you have to bring in discipline. You have to bring in discipline and you have to take care of what your capacities are. And by bringing that is what you enable the woman to manifest her role as a womanhood. And that's where she respects you. And that's what I've seen. And I can't say that I'm gonna, because my wife earns 300 and 400,000, and then we're gonna start living there, and I'm gonna take a portion of the set. Dog, I've seen from first-hand experience, bro. If you don't control, if a girl earns more than you, she starts asking and screaming. It's like, no, let's start eating at Signature every 2 weekends or every second weekend. If you don't control that, my boy, she'll start paying the bills.
So important to me. I've also experienced, devious aunts that without them I would probably still be married, but that story for another day.